Welcome to all 21st Century Community Learning Centers grantees. I am pleased you are joining us for this year's Continuation Grantee Orientation webinar. My name is Nina Pace, Financial Program Manager. I am responsible for grant funding questions, including budget revisions, grant closeout, and the consultant for part of the Central Region. The purpose of this orientation is to provide returning grantees with updates and pertinent information needed to conduct a successful grant program for fiscal year 2020. Because this is a recording, if you have questions, please be sure to reach out to the appropriate 21st Century staff person. With that, let me introduce the team to ensure you are aware of who to contact with your questions. The 21st Century staff members include Charlotte Jones Ward. She's an education program specialist for the Northwest and Southeast regions. Charmaine Davis Bay. She's an education program specialist for the Northeast region. We do have a new consultant. That person will be responsible for the Southwest region and part of the Central region. Stasia Ashley is the data coordinator. She is responsible for 21 APR, the AIR evaluation, and ODE data collection. Shannon Teague is the assistant director for the 21st Century program within the Office of Improvement and Innovation. It's important to implement your approved grant with fidelity. Know what's in your grant and ensure that you are on target to meet your performance and outcome measures. Understand your regional map and know who your regional consultant is as your first point of contact. Be aware of all the important program deadlines, such as start and end dates, compliance documentation deadlines, and fiscal deadlines. Mark your calendar to include all mandatory professional development trainings. Note, program managers must attend all mandatory trainings. Be familiar with all program, fiscal, and evaluation requirements. Ensure you are meeting all federal, state, and local requirements. Ensure you are meeting all of the licensing and child nutrition requirements. It's important to work collaboratively with all stakeholders and build lasting partnerships in order to sustain your program long term. Ensure your program is offering equitable services to all students. It is important that you know your grant. Read and reread your grant. Make sure you understand it in all its nuances. Schedule professional development with your staff to go over the performance measures for your grant so they understand why they are doing what they are doing. What is written in the grant must be implemented, so all staff will need to have a clear understanding of what you intend to accomplish. These tips provide practical strategies to help you communicate about your grant. 1. Create a quick fact sheet that gives a description of the program. This is another way you can share with your staff so they understand the expectations of the program. 2. Meet your partners and stakeholders. This is an important part of the grant and something that you will have to document in your CAPA. Your partners and stakeholders need to know what the grant expectations are and how they will all work together to have a quality program. Number 3. Make a list of program tasks that need to be accomplished over the year and review it weekly to ensure you are on task for a successful program. Next, professional development is very important. We offer multiple opportunities for you to attend trainings, and you can locate these opportunities on the 21st Century Timeline. The 21st Century Timeline will be posted on the WordPress blog for your convenience. So please print a copy and review it with your staff. Please note, any future changes to the timeline will be posted on WordPress. The timeline is organized by trainings, grant deadlines, evaluation deadlines, and national conferences. Normally, we host ODE trainings in one of the 5 regions based on the 21st Century Regional Map. However, due to a transition with our state vendor this year, we were unable to schedule them regionally. Please note, we will be hosting the compliance trainings, the bidders conferences, and the continuation plan and CCIP navigation training in the Central Region located at the Ohio Department of Administrative Services. All other trainings are at locations specified on the timelines. Also, listed on the timeline is where to register, who should attend, and the scheduled meeting times. Again, please remember that from time to time, the dates, locations may change on the timeline. So always make sure you have the most updated copy. Updates will always be sent out on WordPress. Each year, there are mandatory trainings that grantees must attend, all of which are on the 21st Century Timeline. Mandated trainings include a face-to-face orientation for first-year grantees and first-year program managers. Continuation grantees are not required to attend the face-to-face orientation, but should review this webinar for all updates. Ohio After School's Best Foot Forward Conference, sponsored by the Ohio After School Network and the 21st Century Program, has an expectation that all program managers will attend. COSA regional trainings are mandatory for first-year grantees and first-year program managers. Everyone else is strongly encouraged to attend. Compliance trainings are required for all program managers. CCIP continuation trainings are required for all program managers as well. Optional trainings include Bidders Conference and CCIP navigation training. Again, the timeline will be sent out via WordPress, so please print off a copy and mark these important dates on your calendars. The COSA team are regional mentors for all 21st Century grantees and will be available again this year to work with you to identify program needs and help support grantees in their respective regions based on the 21st Century Regional Map. Last year's trainings included information and resources on family engagement, youth development, Ohio After School Network, Step Up to Quality, Family Feud, Federal Reserve resources, Young Entrepreneurial Pitch Challenge, just to name a few. COSA regional mentors are not ODE employees. They are hired by COSA to be an advocate and to assist with any trainings, ideas, issues, or concerns. Mark Knopf, COSA Director, will be sending out information about how to contact your COSA regional mentor and how to register for any of the upcoming regional trainings listed on the timeline. All programming for FY20 must begin by October 15, 2019, and may not end before April 17, 2020. Any revisions to your program start date must be entered into the CCIP history log as a comment prior to your current dates provided in the FY20 CCIP continuation plan with the rationale. All CAPA monitoring evidence for those programs in their second year of programming must upload documentation into the compliance system by December 17, 2019. If your CAPA visit is scheduled prior to December 17th, the evidence must be uploaded 2 weeks prior to the scheduled on-site visitation. All 21st Century grants require a program license unless the program site serves youth over age 14, that's through Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, and only serve high school grade levels if the license is with the Ohio Department of Education. As a continuing grantee, you must have a valid license either through Ohio Department of Education or the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. A youth development exemption is an option if the 21st Century site is operated by a community-based organization that has a 501c3 status and meet all the requirements under the Ohio Revised Code 5104.02b9. An annual request on the organization's letterhead indicating how you meet all 9 categories of the revised code is required after your award notification is received, but prior to first day of programming. Evidence documentation of your 501c3 status is required. The exemption request must be sent to Nina Pace at nina.pace@education.ohio.gov. Here are your contacts for licensing. All programs must provide a daily nutritious snack during out-of-school time for every student. This is a program requirement. The cost of the snack is not an allowable expense under the 21st Century Grant. For more information on the after-school snack program, visit the ODE website. Contact information for nutritional resources are as follows: 1-800-808-6325, the website education.ohio.gov, search keywords food and nutrition. The Ohio Department of Education 21st Century Community Learning Centers program is funded by the United States Department of Education annually in July. This year, Ohio was awarded a little over $41 million. Each 21st Century program award was between $50,000 up to $200,000 for each grant. Continuation awards are contingent upon funding from the United States Department of Education. 21st Century Grant Awards are now on a 5-year grant cycle. The allocation in the first 3 years is at the amount awarded during the initial year. Then, year 4 is funded at 75%, and the final 5th year is funded at 50%. So please continue to review your sustainability plan to ensure student needs are being met. A budget revision is when you make certain changes to the last approved budget to meet federal requirements or to pay for expenditures not originally budgeted. A budget revision must be completed when the activity is contemplated, prior to obligating funds. Failure to adhere to this provision may subject subrecipients to findings, questionable cost, and repayments of project funding. The revision is pending when the organization's CCIP status is at authorized representative approved. Then will be reviewed for approval by the department. All revisions are subject to negotiation and approval by ODE. The revision is approved once the status is changed to consultant approved. No budget revisions will be accepted after June 30th of the grant year. What you should know about budget revisions. A budget revision is necessary when program activities are expected to exceed 10% of the current total approved budget in an object code. If the revision exceeds 10% in an object code, a CCIP history log comment is required as justification. This chart is a visual on the CCIP budget revision status changes. Fiscal management should involve a team of program personnel, such as program director/manager and/or site coordinator, and administrative personnel, such as treasurer or superintendent. The team should come together regularly to monitor funds and discuss how to strategically use 21st century dollars. For example, in February, March, teams should review evaluative outcomes and compare costs to results shown in that year and over previous grant years. Out of this discussion, teams should decide what services are producing the greatest result and are most needed among the target population. A sound program manager will review what funds have been spent so far and what funds are remaining. Keep in mind, by January, February, project what funds still need spent throughout the year and identify if any changes are needed. If significant changes are needed to the budget, submit a budget revision. This is required when proposed changes exceed 10% within an object code. Substantially approved date is the date a subrecipient is legally allowed to obligate grant funds. The period of availability is the funding period when a subrecipient may charge to the award only costs resulting from obligations incurred. 21st Century Grants period of availability ends June 30th of the award year. Therefore, this is the last day a subrecipient may obligate funds, and any items purchased must be received by this date. All funds must be liquidated by September 30th. A project cash request is a request for cash which may be requested on an immediate cash need. The cash must be expended within 5 days of receipt. The subrecipient must submit the initial and subsequent PCRs via CCIP. A PCR is submitted when there is an immediate cash need. You may request multiple advances per month and unlimited requests for negative cash balances. You may submit only one active PCR at a time. Subrecipients can attach supporting documentation to the PCR via the CCIP. Contact your assigned representative with questions for either PCRs or FERs. All grantees are required to submit a final expenditure report annually via the CCIP on or by September 30th. Your status must be changed to FER Authorized Representative Approved. The FER must reflect actual expenditures that align to your last approved budget. The 21st Century Grant does not allow for any program allocations unspent to be carried over into the next fiscal year. Therefore, it is important to meet frequently with your treasurer to ensure all funds are being spent according to the approved budget. 21st century expenditures are based on the current approved budget in your continuation plan, along with the budget summary. All expenditures must be reasonable, allocable, and necessary for purposes of out-of-school time programming. When making decisions on spending, use good common sense and ensure adherence to local cash management policies. Here are a few allowable use of funds to consider: transportation costs, curriculum materials, program supplies, including iPads, computers, printers pertaining to academic and non-academic enrichment, and staff salary and benefits. Other examples of allowable use of funds are student, parent, and staff incentives, program evaluation costs up to $10,000, youth development contractors, and rent when necessary. Here are a few examples of unallowable expenditures: food of any kind, unless they are curriculum materials and a lesson plan must be attached to the expense related to a culinary arts or cooking class. Grant writer fees, vehicle purchase, building purchase, or major repairs or infrastructure. The OHID portal took the place of the former Safe Account system, and you will use it to access your grant. There are several ODE data systems used by the 21st Century Program. The first is the Ohio Education Directory System, known as OEDS. OEDS is the department's directory of schools, districts, and other educational community organizations. The Comprehensive Continuous Improvement Planning System is known as the CCIP. The CCIP is the grant application and planning system. Next is the STARS app. STARS is the Professional Development and Technical Assistance System, which is our portal for registering for training or an event hosted by the Ohio Department of Education. The compliance system is the system for monitoring of federal funds used during the grantees' second and fourth years for the compliance monitoring process, where you upload evidence documentation to ensure compliance. The compliance system is also used during the grant closeout process. There are several 21st Century roles that gains you access to the systems used for program and budget revisions, monitoring, and during the grant renewal periods. They are as follows: CCIP Authorized Rep / Superintendent. This is the organization's final approver. CCIP Fiscal Rep / Treasurer. The treasurer approves budgets and submit project cash requests to draw down grant funds. OEDS Administrator. The OEDS Administrator ensures all organization roles in OEDS are accurate and up to date. Program Manager / 21st Century. Only one person should be assigned to this role per organization. They will serve as the primary grant contact. And data entry funding, data entry compliance, and data view funding roles are specific to application and continuation plan submission into the CCIP. Please make sure all program staff and stakeholders have read and understand the signed partnership agreement and are on board with the program expectations. It is important that your on-site staff agree to conduct your programs in alignment with these assurances and with your performance measures in your continuation plans. Maintaining consistent and ongoing communication will create long-term and sustainable success. As your programs begin this year, remember to involve school leaders, administrators, and staff now. Identify their expectations for the program. Make sure all school leaders understand the purpose of the grant. Understand how they will be involved in providing support to you and the program. In regard to your primary partner, please attempt to resolve any concerns with the grant so there are no interruptions in programming. Be sure that your specific target population of students to be served in the grant is being served. Because the grant is serving a specific population along with your primary partner. This will prevent you from becoming a high-risk grantee, which can lead to grant termination. Expand your partnership list to meet your programmatic needs because partnerships are key to success. Utilize the Ohio Improvement Process as a guide. View it as an organizational strategy rather than an exercise in compliance, which gives districts a template through which focus and intentional action can take place to bring educators in school and after school together through collaborative team structures. Everyone can learn from each other and facilitate communication and decision-making between and across levels of the system, such as district, central office, school, grade levels, content areas, and classrooms. Great partnerships are developed and maintained through participation in teacher-based team, building leadership team, and or district leadership team meetings. To ensure alignment of out-of-school time and expanded learning time with school day learning, an additional expectation is that each grantee is a member of the district support team and or building support teams. Therefore, a representative from your program is responsible for attending and actively participating in your districts and buildings support teams. If there are any issues with the superintendent's, district's, building administration not cooperating, please refer them to the grant assurances, which is part of the signed partnership agreement, as well as this training. The Equitable Services provision still requires that all public schools, including community schools, or non-public schools and organizations awarded a grant must provide equitable services to non-public school students and their families who are in the area. This includes the 21st Century site and any feeder schools that send students to the site. Please note, non-public school students' eligibility to participate in the 21st Century program is not based on their low-income status or Title I participation, but the need of that non-public student, such as academic support or social-emotional support. Be sure that you are operating your program in fidelity across the board, mirroring what is offered to public students offered to non-public students as well. Each grantee indicated in their continuation plan that the required consultation occurred. Therefore, it is required that the LEA is responsible for the provision. If the LEA is the sub-grantee, they should make the contact to the appropriate non-public schools. If the CBO is the sub-grantee, they should be sure this happens by working together with the LEA, their primary partner, to meet the provision required in contacting those eligible non-public schools. The correspondence you send out to those non-public schools must be kept for documentation purposes to be uploaded for your first-year implementation and CAPA monitoring surveys. Some pertinent updates for those having a CAPA monitoring desk review and site visit will use the ODE compliance system as part of the process. Please refer to the 21st Century timeline for training dates. Under Program Administration, reading and math requires at least 2 hours total enrichment each week, with documentation. Under Program Administration, Family Engagement Component must offer at least 3 evidence-based opportunities each school year with documentation. Additional resource tool is available at y4y.edu. Your program manager will be expected to meet monthly with the building leadership or district leadership teams, per the partnership agreement detailed in the CCIP. Build and maintain your collaborative relationships, aligning with efforts made during the school day. You are there to find out how you can work with your teachers, counselors, and administration more closely, and vice versa, to share out programming data and updates to improve their efforts as well as how they can assist in yours. Remember your documentation here. Your minutes should clearly reflect your report out of 21st century efforts to collaborate with these teams and individual staff in school. Your certified teacher brings credibility to your program, so we need to see their efforts in overseeing the academic content of your program. Certified teachers should be closely reviewing and approving your program lesson plans. In your documentation, please keep copies of your actual lesson plans, not emails from your community partners showing that you asked for curriculum or a weekly calendar outlining what is planned for the day. We need to see those efforts. A few monitoring reminders. Programming created should be implemented. 21st Century's performance measures should be the basis of everything created. Can't stress that enough. Many have already started programming, so please review what you have in place to ensure it takes place and implement it with fidelity. Your programming calendars and schedules should be posted throughout your programming space and the school/site. Teachers, administrators, parents, and other visitors, like your regional consultant, should see and know what's going on for that day, week, month, etc. As you prepare for your compliance and performance assessment, become familiar with the survey. It can be downloaded from the compliance survey system. Know what documentation is appropriate for what indicators. We do not need hundreds of documents for each indicator. Give us your best 1 to 2 forms of evidence that clearly address what is being asked. Also, please destroy any prior CAPA surveys used. The surveys and/or requirements have changed from prior fiscal years. We highly recommend you use the survey as a guide and checklist in your documentation collection and organization efforts. So when it's time to begin uploading to the ODE compliance system for each of your grants for CAPA this year, you will be prepared and ready to go. Therefore, you can begin your desk review uploads as soon as possible. You will have until December 17th of 2019 to upload evidence and complete the survey. If you are scheduled prior to December 17th for your monitoring visits, you should upload the documentation 2 weeks prior to your visit. Finally, if you are up for a CAPA this year, Please be mindful that your desk review upload documentation should reflect fiscal year 2019, which is school year 2018-19. I repeat, the documentation should reflect fiscal year 2019, school year 2018-19. This is for the consultants to see how things were handled after completing a full year of programming. On site, we will ask and expect to retrieve current fiscal year documentation. For example, FY20 matrix, attendance sheet, current inventory records, so to not be confused moving forward. All information needed on the roster matrix should be included in one spreadsheet. All of these reminders will be contained in future email communications from your consultant. More information regarding how to navigate through your CAPA monitoring review and compliance system will be shared at the FY20 training scheduled in the months of October and November. All program managers will be required to attend at least one of the following regional trainings. Another program representative may take your place only if you have a strong justification and approval by your regional consultant. Registration is required via STARS through your OHID account to attend one of the trainings listed. The AM and PM trainings are the same. Therefore, you only need to attend one. Again, all FY20 trainings will be held in Columbus, Ohio at the Ohio Department of Administrative Services. If you have questions regarding the training, please contact your regional 21st Century consultant. Here are a few resources available to you as a result of this training. 21st Century grants are not intended to provide programs with long-term sustainability of their expanded learning and out-of-school time programs. Local education agencies and community-based organizations need to work together in making critical links to sustaining programs beyond the grant period. Grantees should bring together community organizations with local education agencies to determine how to best leverage resources within the community for long-term continuation of the program. This must be stressed. All 21st Century programs are required to develop and fully implement a sustainability plan, focusing on maintaining programs through the end of the grant cycle and beyond. Our COSA contractors are working to assist you with effective program support, including sustainability efforts throughout your program's grant cycle. Therefore, seek their advice and reach out as needed. Once your fifth year comes and goes, the question shouldn't be, are we going to be here next year? But, how can we extend our reach to serve more youth in need for the next school year? Other sustainability resources are available to you through the Ohio After School Network and the y4y.edu websites, such as Sustainability Self-Assessment Tool, Guide for Creating Sustainability Plan, Implementation List, and Program Elevator Pitch. Here is a sound sustainability chart for your review and implementation into your planning strategies. You can find it on the 21st Century blog under Program Monitoring, then the 21st Century Sustainability Resources. Take a look at your goals within the plan. Discuss funding stability with an objective and action steps to achieve that objective. The time frame is important to ensure you are on target to achieve the initial goal and If need be, reconsider other options if this does not occur. Federal funding sources such as 21st Century are essential to help states and local communities establish support systems that make after-school programs and the extra learning time they provide an expectation, not an afterthought. The millions of our youth who are unsupervised after school deserve better, and we have the power to change that. Data collection is very important. As you should be aware, maintaining data is imperative for many reasons. Our state has several ways we collect data and tell the story of 21st century. You are required to maintain accurate records and reporting processes. Ohio has a tiered evaluation framework: Ohio Department of Education data collection, local evaluation, statewide evaluation, which includes the Continuous Quality Improvement Tool Pilot Project, United States Department of Education Data Collection Tool in 21 APR. Grantees must conduct a self-assessment and/or a formal local evaluation using a qualified evaluator. It is mandatory that each program engages at least one person to assist program staff in gathering, tracking, and evaluating data to ensure program performance objectives are met. Expenditures for a program evaluator can be up to $10,000 per fiscal year for each grant. Your program evaluator cannot be the same person or company that wrote the 21st Century Grant. This new requirement will be shared by the 21st Century Director during the required training on October 3, 2019. Awardees for FY20 will be required to participate in 2 evaluation studies. Awarded programs will be required to complete an evaluation design. The evaluation design is a map that allows the subrecipient to answer the following 3 questions. Are you doing what you said you would do? How well are you doing it? Is what you're doing making a difference? Thank you for your hard work, dedication, and determination. Keep up the great work out there in the field, and do not hesitate to reach out when necessary.